Are we live? Are we live? I don't know. Let's check. Check. I'm excited about this one. Ooh, I can see that we are live. Is it working? Is it working? I can see myself. That's a start. Do we have audio? Do we have audio? Let's find out. Yeah? No? Why can't I hear anything? Oh, speakers off. I can see myself. Yeah! That's a start. Let's mute myself and let's get started. As you can see, I'm still in my workout outfit because I just came up from the gym. And I do this a bit on the fly because it's midsummer and that means it's a big holiday celebration in Sweden. Nobody is working and it's celebration all over town, all over Sweden. But that's not what this video is going to be about. This video is going to be the weekly evaluation of this week's challenge, which has been rejection therapy with the focus of girls. Yeah, that's true. And why do I do it like this? Well, I actually just had a little event happening down at the gym, so I just boom, I have to go with impulse. I'm a bit adrenaline rushed actually, but we will get to that detail. Firstly, I will introduce a little bit the context, what we're doing here. The video. Okay, Alex, slow down. This week's challenge has been about practicing rejection therapy in the context of girls. I have been escalating it. I've started out with 5 laughs. That was my goal, what I wanted to achieve. I wanted to approach girls. I wanted to make them laugh. And why did I do that? Let's start there. Why, in the first place, do I want to approach ladies? I just throw myself in this. Well, we do rejection therapy. Rejection therapy is about putting yourself in a situation where you can get rejected. You design a question or request or do some kind of action which puts you in harm's way for that rejection, for getting a no, to getting declined, to whatever it is that you seek, want, or whatever. And we do that to get used to this feeling of rejection, to get used to not getting what we want, but still going after what we want. It is incredibly powerful because it is basically what hinders us in life. Fear dictates our actions. Whether it's in a work situation, career, when we don't dare to do anything, it's fear that controls us, that hinders us from going after that thing. So the idea is here with rejection therapy, by putting ourselves in this situation where we constantly go after the things that we want, where we constantly put ourselves in these situations, and we get used to this emotion, both the emotion of pushing through and doing it, but also the actual rejection where the shit hits the fan and we get turned down or whatever. Repetitive action in that context, it makes us desensitized. It makes us used to that. And that is incredibly powerful for your life, not only for the things that you're doing, like the girls' themes now. Of course, it makes me better in the area of girls, but it relates to a much bigger level because it's the fear, anxiety thing that dictates not only in the area you're practicing it, but in all areas. It makes me go after work-related things as well because it's the same emotion, just different context. But also, that's the one reason for why we're doing it. We're also doing this to build self-esteem because that is what this channel is all about, basically. That's the focus I've landed in because I've come to the conclusion that it is the most powerful thing we can do to grow ourselves to live a better life. But not going to get into the details about that, but just to be clear, you only build self-esteem if you go after the things that you want to go after, or if you do things that relates to your values, beliefs, or goals. You can't go out and do rejection therapy and like start to lie about things and deceive people and just go against who you want to be, your ideal self, because all those actions decreases your self-esteem. You may increase your ability to talk with people and that kinds of things, but the overall thing of lying and going against your beliefs and values, that is so much more impactful, so that will lower your level of self-esteem way more than you're actually increasing it due to the small action of talking to people and such. So that's the overall basic level of why we're doing this. Now into the week, the focus of that. I'm gonna briefly talk a little bit about what has happened and come to some conclusions, learnings, reflections throughout the week. If you have followed me, I usually post every day, but I've actually managed to both gather so much material this week, but also I've had a ton of work to do at work, so the time just haven't been enough. I want to make good videos, I want to produce this in a high quality way, but when I get home at 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock at the evening and still have to go up at 6 o'clock the day after, the hours just hasn't been enough. So in order to still have that quality, I've decided to just make it take a little bit longer time for your sake. So the material will come out, it's just gonna be progressively. However, the 2 videos I've released, you have seen the 2 first objectives of this week's, because I have 5 objectives. What to do in rejection therapy well, the focus was girls and I wanted to scale it up. And I set up to first make 5 girls laugh, then to get a phone number, then to get a date, then to actually go on a date, and then to get a kiss. 2 videos has been released. I've managed to get 5 girls to laugh, and I managed to get a phone number. I actually started throughout the weekend because it's a lot of things to do, and if you can get a head start, you want to take that head start. But it actually has been really fun, and well, I started out with the camera, and that in some sense it's easier because then you're protected. You have a clear purpose. Okay, I'm approaching with this camera, I'm gonna ask this thing. Now I did this on the fly and I didn't know what to say, but I still had the camera and I still could say that, yeah, I do a YouTube channel, I have this purpose, It gives me an explanation for why I'm approaching the girls, so it made it kind of easy. And that made those approaches alright, and I did manage to get them laughing. It's a more relaxed atmosphere when I do that, if they're confident with the camera, that is. So I managed to do that. It was fun. I laughed, they laughed, great fun. But the learning was that, yeah, it's a bit cheating to use the camera. It's good for your ability to interview people, because I like to do that as a part of this channel as well. But in the context of actually practicing, maybe picking up girls, maybe it's not the most ideal way. So that's why I once again went back to doing it with a hidden camera. And I did that, and I managed to get a phone number on the second video. That was fun as well. What I'm going to say is that from that video, doing things with the video, I learned one thing, the first conclusion, that when I had the clear purpose, then it made me confident, it made it easier, and that is how I should approach the thing, even if I have had a hidden camera. So I started to be very direct with, yeah, I think you're very cute, do you want to perhaps go on a date? We actually started with, I think you're very cute, do you have a boyfriend? Like, very straightforward. So that was, I stated my purpose really direct, and then didn't make it like it has been in some other cases where I just approach and there's no clear direction. Then it's like, what do I want with this? And she can feel that too, because she doesn't know what I want. But if I approach and just, yeah, I want this, then it's clear, it's obvious. I have a boyfriend? No, I don't have a boyfriend. Very effective. And that was how I've continued. Also, a little bit of a spoiler, in the videos, I have been approaching a lot of girls this week. And, well, spoiler alert, is everybody in Stockholm not single? I don't know. But I got a bit lazy. I got like efficient like a machine. I really took on this this way of clarity and purpose, and just, I think you're cute, you have a boyfriend, so it didn't leave room for much chit chat. It was more like a questionnaire. It still was fun. Still very much enjoyed it, and I 99% of the cases got a good response out of it. But it robbed me from a great opportunity to actually create rapport and flirt with girls. I had done the hard part of approach, and I had started to talk with them. Why not? Because this was actually pointed out by one of the guys commenting. I think it was something with string. Gave me some good feedback, and he said that I should build more rapport before actually maybe asking about the boyfriend or the phone number. And that really it lit up a light bulb to me, like, yeah, why don't you do that? Great opportunity to actually practice. And then again I started to do that, and then I saw the positive benefits of doing so. It made me able to practice just talking to girls, because that is a necessity. They don't want to go on a date. They don't want to see me if I'm not actually showing a good image of who I am. I have to present the goods before actually doing something about it. So that was like the second learning. I went from realizing I have to have a clear purpose, but then making the purpose too much of a purpose, neglecting the details that are so important. But then I brought myself back to mid-level, and that's where I am right now, I think. And I'm not gonna spoil how it goes, but I will say that a date happened yesterday, and it was really, really great. I can also say that, should I spoil it? Yeah. No kiss has happened so far. But the week isn't over, and today is midsummer, and I'm going to a friend up north in a few hours on a big. It's gonna be a party, and we're gonna have a night out, so there are still a whole lot of possibilities. And I promise you that before I go to bed tonight, I will have asked a girl for a kiss. I will have made an attempt to get a kiss tonight. That's a promise from me to you guys. Oh boy, did I regret saying that right now. But it will happen. I am a man of integrity. If I say something, I will do that. That's also a big part of self-esteem. Living by your word. Having congruence in your actions, beliefs, and what you're actually doing. Well, that's actions. You get the idea. But I had another conclusion that I wanted to put out there as learning of this week. Yeah, of course. I had a bit of an easy road in it throughout the week. I approached a whole lot of women. I got rejected in the sense of it not leading to anything more, because basically, bait my cheek. Basically, they all had boyfriends. And that meant they were still very, at least in the situations I put myself through, they were all very nice and all got super happy. And I think I got 3 or 4 women saying that, yeah, you really made my day in a super genuine way, and that just made me feel freaking great. Most of the interactions were amazing. But that put me in a false state, because that's not reality. Reality is more cold, harder, and I kind of forgot about that. So it made me like, yeah, this is so easy. Up until right now, this visit downstairs at the gym, and I actually, I was working out next to a girl who was really, really super pretty,
and I was thinking, why don't I do this? First I was thinking, well, I've already attained the date thing. I don't need to do anything more. Then I just, whoa, are you doing this for the YouTube channel, or are you doing this for you? I have to say, yeah, of course I'm doing this for me. It's my wanting to meet a girl. So then after maybe 15 minutes of working out next to each other, I stopped her and I asked, sorry, I have to. First I asked how old she was, which put it in a bit of an awkward situation, and then I asked what her name was, and I told her she was cute. But she was really, didn't give me any good response, but I couldn't really tell if it was because she was shy or not, so I just, well, I'm not gonna interrupt you in your gym bubble, so then I moved on. But then I just, hey, I can't do that and not actually ask for like a date, or because I didn't say anything more. I just said, I think you're really cute, and it was a really hard to interpret answer, so I moved on. But then again, after 50 minutes again, I have to ask her, so then I approached her again, and then it was like, really like, don't talk to me, very not meeting me in any positive way at all. And that made me feel like super rejected, like really knife in the chest kind of thing, because I haven't experienced that to any great extent this week. They've all been so nice approaches, and that made me realize that I've been living in a dream world this week. I've had a lot of luck or skill, perhaps a combination, but those hard rejections, they will come, and those are what is giving a whole lot of good practice. I mean, the self-esteem building part, that is mostly increased by the good rejections, but the ability to handle rejection, that skill, because it is a skill, is really increased in these situations. So that was what happened right now, but it also made me realize that I'm not perfectly good to handle that thing yet. It hurts right now. It's emotional. I'm realizing that you shouldn't let it hurt just one out of 1,000 girls, but it still tingles a little bit of anxiety within you, like, whoa, she rejected me. Why did she do that? Am I a bad person? Shouldn't I talk to people? And all these kinds of stories that comes up, because the stories are always going to be there, but they're going to level to which degree they affect you. And right now, they affect me quite on a quite high level, because I haven't been put through so many rejections this week, which is both good and both bad. I much rather have a nice reaction from a girl who I'm approaching, but still it is tons of value in what just happened. But I have to repeat this out loud. I want to share this experience, that you really have a win-win scenario from doing this. Win, lose, the result outcome is all good, as long as you go after what you're doing. Another comment, I think it was Luke who commented on one of the videos, the only way you're gonna fail is by not trying. That's a mantra I live by. The only way you're gonna fail is by not trying, or by not doing it, by quitting on yourself. Then you haven't tried. You owe it, at the very least, you owe it to try. Yeah, take those words with you. I repeat them to myself every day. There's some mantras I repeat every day. Enjoy the process. The only way you're failing is if you're not trying. And then there's one last one. How can you forget a daily mantra? Well, I don't know. Stuff like that happens. That is the main conclusions of the week. Or actually, perhaps the biggest conclusion. I left the happiest one to the very end. Since I've had so many approaches this week, the sheer volume, it really pushed me over a hurdle. Like, I've really been past the approach anxiety. when you do it so many times, that repetitively, it really removes the anxiety part from it. Yesterday and the day before that, all the approaches, which usually were the hardest thing, it decreased a ton. I mean, in a 1 to 10 scale, when I started to do this a few weeks back, or maybe like the week 1 when I approached a girl, if it was at 95% that I approached anxiety, this week maybe I just went from 50% starting level down to maybe 10%. Well, this is a wrong scale. From your point of view, how does that look? Okay, so here is 0, and here's the worst amount of approach anxiety level. And when I started, I was around 95 perhaps. This week, maybe 15-20% approach anxiety. That is some good result. That is some fundamental change within, and my ability, my skill development has really put me in that state of mind where I can do this now and really enjoy the process, and that is so fun. Just having it so close by heart to be able to talk to anyone and everybody, it's amazing. And it also colors the actual conversation, not only the approaching side. Since I've been able to enjoy the process and remove that anxiety part to a great extent, it's just fun to talk to people. Like the date I had yesterday, which I will be posting a video of. Not so much content, perhaps, because I didn't tape anything, but I did tell her about this whole challenge, that she was a part of the challenge. It worked out alright. I was a bit anxiety filled to actually speak those words, but I did it, and well, I really enjoyed it, and I was really comfortable. And this whole idea of making sure to do this from your point of view, to have fun with it, to laugh, to enjoy the process, that is powerful, but it is an insight you will only come to, at least for me, by doing it over and over again. And those words are gonna finalize this week's evaluation. It for sure will. Perfect avocado moment. Oh, it's so many. I don't know what to pick. But 2-1. The date yesterday was just super nice. Really connected on a deep level, and just having that check mark on, yeah, now I've done a date. Was a very long time since I last did it. Now it's much easier to do it again. And maybe with her again. We really had a good time, so that's not an impossibility. But also the warmth I felt, especially from one girl, when I approached her and I told her she was very beautiful and asked if she had or actually asked if she wanted to go on a date, instant date. And she just started to shine and just smile in such a genuine way, and it just colored my whole mood and made me like, wow, you're a good person here, Alex, for telling her these things. It really made her day, and that made my day in return. So it was such a win-win scenario just from my approach there, and that moment was so heartwarming, and it was really a top moment for sure. That will end this weekly evaluation. Usually I move on to do a weekly review now, and well, I'm only gonna do a very brief weekly review since I'm off to my dearest friend Christopher for some midsummer celebration in a while. I'm gonna only do this for 30 minutes, then I have to get down to business. But I realized that a very brief weekly evaluation is much better than none at all. And when I say weekly evaluation, I talk about the individual part, where you and me sit down on our own. This is something I do regularly if you haven't been listening to me earlier. A weekly review evaluation is when you look back at the week, what has happened, how you've been moving towards your goals. We all should have goals, but
To achieve goals, it means directed and focused action. Action, action, action. And that requires planning, or at least a sense of clarity and focus. And that is what we are evaluating this week. What has happened, how we've been moving towards our goals, what have been happening, how can we learn from perhaps mistakes, but also from the things we have done well, so we can continually iterate and improve our process for moving in the right direction, but also tweak if we're doing something wrong. Maybe something has gotten a whole lot of focus. Maybe we're just so in-depth, only seeing one thing. That is happening to me all the time. Like, I'm getting so focused on one thing that everything around me is just blurred out. But that is why I force myself to elevate myself to a bird's view perspective, look at the whole picture and see what is happening in my life. Maybe I realize that, whoa, I'm giving 100% attention to this thing here. But the reality is that this thing has much, much more impact in my life. This is much, much more important. And I really need to tweak my focus here. That is something that will only happen if you take the time to do this. Evaluate your life once a week. That is what I do every Friday, live streaming it. Because either if you want to join in, but also for my own sake, it makes it a habit, a routine. Routines are the key to building a successful life, if you ask me and a whole lot of other people. So that is what we're going to do right now. And it's going to be awesome. But so, to make it a little bit, what do you say, clear, it's 11:08 now, it doesn't matter. But around 30 minutes of weekly evaluation is coming up right now. If you have any questions, just make sure to post them here in the comment field. Also, I will fill out the description so you can see a description for how to go about doing a weekly evaluation if you've never done it. There's a lot of different ways to go about it. I have my way, and it's also outlined there in the description. Yep. Hope you enjoyed what I had to say, and as I've said, if there are any questions of any kind, just write them there. And this is the Midsummer Eve's pole, which we will dance around. That's part of the Midsummer Eve's tradition. Freaking awesome! Okay, let's do this. And as a starting point, I will be playing the Midsummer Eve's traditional song. Okay, so there's not one single song, I realize. There's a lot of different classical folk songs we sing when we dance around the pole. But I'm gonna give you one. It's called The Little Frogs, Små grodorna. Swedish people. I think you've seen enough. Just gonna put on some background music while doing this. Also, I'm gonna move the mic so you don't need to hear my breathing. Much better. What did I do? Oh, no, we don't. And I just have to say, when you have a high level of awareness, which I've been able to reach, you can feel that little bit of anxiety still tingling around the back of my head from the rejection I got an hour ago. It still is present. I just can't shake it completely. I know how to argue and reason with myself for why it really benefits me to have that kind of rejection, but still, it's so fundamentally, it hurts us in such a fundamental way when we're not used to it. Like, that's the one thing we really try to avoid the most, getting hurt, putting ourselves in a situation where that happens as a result of what just happened and how I react to it. So it's so important to really get used to this, and especially when I talk about it, when I reflect concerning it, because you should never just let it happen and then just put the lid on. You need to express yourself. You need to talk and reflect about what happened to make yourself realize that, yeah, this was a good thing. This benefited me. I went after something that I really wanted to go after. I wanted to approach that girl. I mean, she was cute, and I really wanted to maybe go on a date with her. That's what drove me. That was my reasons, and those were true. No false, deceiving things. I just wanted to meet a cute girl, and that was for all the right reasons. And okay, she didn't like me. Maybe, I don't know her reasons. Maybe she had a boyfriend. Maybe she just had a bad day. Or maybe she didn't find me attractive. Then I filtered out that girl. That's a good thing. That's
that means we were not a match. And I should be proud for that, and I should not feel this anxiety that still lingers around. But it's getting better and better. Every time when I spoke this right now, it makes me feel much better about it. Just had to put it out there because it, I felt it. Och den orangea. Ska jag vänta?
Bara den här?
Så är det.
Bara den här?
Den stora. Ja, så behöver du de små till låsen.
Men det är bara en mycket.
Jag tror de alla hänger där. Just have to raise the camera. I'm sitting too low. Oh, that's better. I'm realizing it's gonna be hard for me to keep it as short as I said, because once you start to evaluate your week, you realize the impact in it.
skjortor kanske? I don't know if the live stream is dead. It's just buffering. Seems like it's dead. I don't know. Is it?